Hello everyone and welcome back to My Opinion. And in this preview video, we're covering a side that's got some great heritage in ICC events, 5-time winners. They need no introduction, and that is Australia. Looking at this squad, I think the main and only strength behind it is the match-winning substance on show. You've got this generation that's been around for a long time now, and with the players playing in it, especially in ODIs and Tests, Australia look a threatening outfit and they can beat anyone on their day. And you've got pretty much all those players featuring in this squad. And you've got players such as Marnus Labuschagne and Alex Carey who've taken to things very well as well. And you've got those two in addition to the players such as Warner, Smith, Stark, etc. And with this generation, Australia will always look a threatening side. That core of players on their day can beat anyone, and that's why. Have they got too much around that? In my view, no, they haven't. But those players themselves are enough to make them a threatening proposition. Regarding how I think their 11 should go, straight away you'll see that this is the rejig that I mentioned a couple of videos ago. I've got David Warner and Alex Carey to open the batting with Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne at 3 and 4. Mitchell Marsh at 5, Glenn Maxwell 6, Marcus Stoinis at 7, Pat Cummins at number 8, Mitchell Stark at 9, Josh Hazelwood at 10 and Adam Zabra, and it looks a good side there. And starting from the top, the reason why I've gone with Alex Carey to open the batting with Warner instead of Mitchell Marsh is because I'll keep saying this again, because no matter how many times I repeat myself, the formula to bat in ODIs in this part of the world is for your top 4 to set things up for the players to come. Now, Alex Carey usually bats at number 7 in this side, and I think that is wasting him. He's got the capability to bat up the order. In a situation of crisis, he will bat at 5 anyway, and we have seen that. For example, in the semi-final of the 2019 World Cup, when 3 early wickets fell, he batted at number 5. And I think, yes, Mitchell Marsh has done well opening the batting. I think he averages 46 this year with 450s, and we've seen against India what he's done, especially on good batting tracks recently. And also in the previous series, he scored, I think, a vital 47 in Chennai to set Australia on their way, and they won that game to clinch the series. So he has done well opening the batting in this part of the in this part of the world. However, I just think Alex Carey would be more suited walking out earlier. Then pretend if a foundation is set and you've got Alex Carey to walk out of that. Yes, he can get on with things as well. However, in the recent game against India, well, yes, Australia won the game, but he scored 11 off 18 when he walked out to bat, trying to take advantage of a foundation set. I think he's much better off walking out earlier, and that is why, since Travis Head is injured and we don't know how many games he'll miss, he's in the squad, but I think he'll miss at least the first 3 games. I got Alex Carey to open the batting with David Warner. You've got a top 4 where a measured approach in this part of the world, in this format, is never a bad thing. Set the foundation, and then you've got the intimidating finishing core of Mitchell Marsh, Glenn Maxwell, Marcus Stoinis. Pat Cummins is no mug with the bat, and Mitchell Stark can hit a long ball. And even Josh Hazelwood this year, he's faced 24 balls and has scored 36 runs, batting at number 10 in this side. So you've got the batting there, I think, and with those 3 as your finishing core, taking advantage of a foundation set, it's a scary proposition for a bowling side. So that's why I've got Alex Carey there. David Warner's been good this year. I think he's, in 9 innings, he's got 391 runs, averaging 43, strike rate of 120. And I think he's a big tournament player. He'll be him and Steve Smith will be looking to go well this time. And I think they will do. They're fantastic players, and I think they're players for the big occasion. You've got a Marnus Labuschagne who, before the South Africa series, we didn't know whether he'd be included in the squad. Now, I thought he should have been anyway, because I think, like I said, him at number 4, Steve Smith at 3, setting the foundation there, I think you can't get any better at the moment in terms of the players they have than Marnus Labuschagne at number 4. He scored an 80 against South Africa in the game that he made an appearance as a concussion substitute. Then he scored a century. And because of that, I think he's averaged 50 this year overall over 10 innings, 2 50s in a century. So he's back in the side at 4, a good decision, the correct decision. And you've got Mitchell Marsh, who's done well opening the batting, but like I said, Mitchell Marsh, Glenn Maxwell, Marcus Stoinis as your finishing core is a scary proposition. So that is the way they should go. And as far as the bowling goes, you've got the four main bowlers, the three seamers and Cummins, Stuck and Hazelwood, who I think have only played 10 ODIs between them this year. There's been a slight injury cloud surrounding players in the side, whether it be the three seamers and Glenn Maxwell as well. And I think the key for this team is for players is the first 11 to be fit, this core of players to be fit. Because if you've got those players fit, then I think this side can look to qualify even in the top two. I've got India qualifying in first and Australia qualifying in second. I think if the first 11 remains fit, this side does look a good side. And Adam Zampa this year, 15 wickets in 9 games. And even that economy rate over 6 is because of what happened in South Africa against Heinrich Klaasen. So he's been very good this year. And if the first 11 remains fit, Australia have got things going. And now in terms of backups, there isn't too much viable backup for the first 11 in this squad. There's one player who's close to a viable backup option, and that is Josh Inglis, a keeper batsman who bats in the middle order, more of an attacking player. And because he's more attacking, I don't think he can bat for the players in the top 4. I think those 4 have to remain how they are, and I back those 4 to deliver the goods in this tournament. He could bat at 5 if one of the all-rounders don't go as well, but if he has to bat at 5, that means one of the all-rounders isn't going as well, and that doesn't bode well for the side. Travis Head, we don't know how many games he will play. Apparently he'll miss at least the first 3 games, and we'll have to see how he goes. And since you've got him in the squad for now, you've not got an option there you can count on. Sean Abbott seems to be a backup for Josh Hazelwood, but if you're comparing those two, what they do with the ball, the golf and pedigree is quite a lot there, and I don't think you've got adequate cover for Josh Hazelwood. Cameron Green is a backup for Marcus Stoinis. Now, in terms of what he does with the ball, he hits the surface harder than Stoinis does. He can bowl in the low 140s. Stoinis on his day can give you 6 or 7 overs. And I think in terms of what Cameron Green has done with the bat, especially off late, he hasn't really done too much. And with his bowling in white ball cricket, no one has struggled to play him as of yet. So is he a viable backup for a Marcus Stoinis who can bowl 6 or 7 overs on a given day? I don't think so. So that's something that Australia will have to consider to say we haven't really got too much there outside of our main core of players. And also, there's another weakness that could potentially flare up where you've got the top 4 whose role is to establish a foundation. But if you lose 2 quick wickets, you've got Mitchell Marsh to bat at 5 and then Glenn Maxwell and Marcus Stoinis who have struggled to bat time or have much of an influence on the game for the last while. Glenn Maxwell has got 150 in his last, 12 games, and he's got an injury cloud over him as well. And Marcus Stoinis, I think in the last 2 years, has averaged 18, and he hasn't really had a great time of things with the bat. So you've got both those two who I think have struggled to bat for time in the last while. And Mitchell Marsh, he's opened the batting in ODIs this year a lot of the time, and he's also played in I think a test match against England where he scored a century. So I think you could back him to have that temperament as well as that destructive ability that we know he has. And since he has played those roles in ODIs and in Test cricket as well, batting at I think number 5 or 6, he should back himself to have that temperament. Because if he doesn't, then you've not got Travis Head to potentially open the batting and Alex Carey to come at 5 to delay the entrance of a Glenn Maxwell and a Marcus Stoinis a bit. You've got a Mitchell Marsh. If he's dismissed, then you've got Maxwell and Stoinis, so you don't know what you're going to get from. And then Pat Cummins and Mitchell stuck, so you're in trouble then. So in terms of the first 11, that is the only weakness. All other bases are covered in this side. But on the day that 2 early wickets fall, if Smith and Labuschagne don't get runs on the day, then Mitchell Marsh will have to bat with temperament. Otherwise, you've got players who can't bat time. So that is a weakness for them. And I'm not surprised that they've had to deal with the strengths and the weaknesses. For a while now, it's been a case where this core of players have been the go-to players for Australia. There have been other players that have emerged like Marnus Labuschagne and Alex Carey, fantastic options. You've got a Tim David in T20s, for example. But generally, while players have emerged, you've not got the players that have been able to serve as apt backups for this core of players. And I think in the near future, Australia will have an issue in terms of, in this transitional phase, there'll be quite a gulf between these stalwarts and the players that are coming through, and that's something that we'll have to deal with. If the squad, if they remain fit, because you've not got, yes, you do have a backup for Mitchell Starc in terms of, it's tough to replace Mitchell Starc, of course. There's no backup for Pat Cummins in the side. Those two simply, they'll have to be fit. Josh Hazelwood, you've got a backup in Sean Abbott, but the gulf between those two in pedigree, I mean, it's quite something. So you effectively have to go in saying, we really have got maximum one viable backup without Travis Head being fit. If our first 11 does it for us, we're good. If they don't, then we may be in a bit of trouble, but I'm sure these stalwarts will be up for it. And before I finish up, how they should use their bowlers is for Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins to attack up front and Josh Hazelwood to be the enforcer. He can give you you can go for 50 runs in 10 overs and pick up 2 wickets. A fantastic option. And they should finish his overs before the death throws, because I think in this part of the world, if you've got him bowling after the 40th throw when the batsmen are looking to hit out, then you may be in a bit of trouble. Pat Cummins will use the short ball well, and I think he will be a decent option in the middle overs and a bit of the death as well. And Mitchell Starc, we know what he can do as a new ball at the death, so that's how they should use them. Adam Zampa, that wicket-taking threat in the middle overs, and Glenn Maxwell, a defensive bowler with his off-spin. And you've got a Mitchell Marsh to bowl a few. Marcus Jonas, like I said, he can bowl 6 or 7 overs on the day. So you've got bowling options there. If a Travis Head returns, maybe after game 3 or 4, if Alex Carey is still doing well opening the batting, you can maybe play Travis Head at 5. Or I don't think they'll do this, but you could maybe play Travis Head at 5 in place of one of the all-rounders will have to make way, or you could play him in his opening slots and Alex Carey at 5, and you've got the extra assurance where even if you lose a couple of wickets, you'll send in Alex Carey at 5 and he will delay the entrance of the finishers. So that's on this team. If the first 11 goes well, they'll go very well. If not, they'll struggle. If the first 11 goes well, I've got them finishing second behind you. So let's see how they go. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, but this is my opinion. What's yours?